Now, we all know the old saying, do the crime, do the time, but here are some outrageous examples of South Aussies being forced to pay a big price for seemingly harmless acts. While some convicted criminals get little more than a slap on the wrist, these homeowners are copping massive penalties, from chopping down a dangerous tree to forgetting to fill out a survey of all things. Vassal Melandris takes a look at some of the state's most absurd fines.
I have broken the law and I don't apologise for it.
It's totally draconian.
I will be 75 this year and I am not seeking employment.
The fines seem to be disproportionate to the crime. It's just, it really is crazy.
Look, that's the strength of it. What do you call that?
Ever been slugged for a minor slip-up or even something you thought was a good deed? Well, cop this. A fine of up to $120,000 for chopping down a dangerous tree.
And people are getting killed by these things all the time, and yet I'm told, oh, it's just part of the deal. Like, you know, who's the crazy one here, to be honest? I mean, come on.
Or a sick pensioner refusing to fill out a survey and threatened with a fine that accrues every day for the rest of her life.
I feel very strongly that they are holding me at ransom.
I think it borders on cruel. I mean, this is a woman that should be left alone.
They're ordinary South Aussies responsible for minor misdemeanours, but forced to pay a major price.
It's a lot of money for a little dog.
Yeah, it's a huge amount of money, and I worked it out, actually equated to about 20 years worth of registration.
We have a system in place that really seems to really hurt the people that might make a tiny mistake.
Last year, experienced tree lopper Grant Carlin chose to follow his good sense rather than the law by chopping down a significant red gum in Kilburn.
Considering that it had already lost branches and smashed an asbestos roof where people were working below, I figured, well, you know, crazy idea to leave the tree there, we'll chop it down.
And why not? After all, Port Adelaide Enfield Council and Transport SA had recently removed a number of trees along Main North Road in the interest, they say, of public safety.
Would you like to be below this, and it's only a tiny branch, coming from way up there, and clobber you?
However, it seems there's one set of rules for councils and another for people like Grant. Port Adelaide Enfield took him to court and won. Family First MLC Dennis Hood says he can't believe the double standards.
They want to be judge, jury and executioner. And as far as I'm concerned, the guy that chopped down the tree is just providing a decent service.
And in the end, what was your fine?
All up about 24,000.
Drug dealers don't even get that.
Yeah, you could be speeding down the road and nearly kill somebody and still only get a few $100 fine.
Or a slap on the wrist, as recently widowed Sarah Bridge can attest.
I'm just having a hard time accepting that they've gone.
Sarah's partner John and dog Tilly were taken from her in a hit and run by an alcohol and drug-fueled teenager. She lost her whole family. He only lost his licence.
What's so special about a 16-year-old that they can answer to the children's court and get the light sentence, and yet at the same time have the adult privilege of driving a car?
On the other hand, 74-year-old pensioner Elaine Hartley knows what it's like to be threatened with a major penalty.
My state of health is poor. I had a severe stroke 12 months ago.
Yet Elaine says she's being harassed by the Australian Bureau of Statistics to complete a lengthy survey about, of all things, the Australian workforce.
They told me that I had to do it, and I had to be interviewed for every month for 8 months, and if I refused, I would be fined $110 per day.
Despite her age or circumstances, the ultimatum is cooperate or else.
I have no rights at all. I have no right to refuse, and I have no place to appeal against.
The ABS told us they rely on the goodwill of homeowners to participate, but if they refuse, then it can end up with the Director of Public Prosecutions and a criminal charge. Elaine says she's not worried and she's not budging.
I believe it's my right to stand and say I believe it's wrong.
People should get reminders if they do something that's not quite right. You know, they should be told, look, don't do that, here's why, given a list of reasons, and, you know, discouraged. I mean, I think we're too quick to slap horrendous fines on people that basically are doing the right thing.
Another case in point is that of dog owner Sean Donaldson.
I was very frustrated. I was pretty angry about it.
When PK the Kelpie was on death's door late last year, the Adelaide father of two admits he chose to hold off on renewing her registration.
So the council rang me and said that they'd issued me a fine, and I didn't have any major concerns with that. I deserved that fine, and that was not a problem.
That outstanding fine quickly escalated to $190. But then came the real sting in the tail.
What I didn't notice was they'd actually fined me twice, essentially for what was the same thing. The first one was for a dog being unregistered, and then they fined me again for the dog still being unregistered. 2 fines, same dog, and same bullish council.
So all up, an $80 fine turned into how much?
Turned into, including the registration fee, just over $600, so that the fines themselves were $576.
I've tried to fix some of these things in the Parliament, but frankly the government won't have a bar of it.
For example, if you're caught growing cannabis, a mere $300 fine. If you're caught growing 2 grams of heroin, no penalty, just a one-off counselling session. But if you're caught growing 1 tobacco plant, it's a $55,000 fine and or 2 years in prison.
Surely there's got to be some penalty.
Well, in some countries, you know, you line up against a firing squad.
Yeah, that's right. No one's advocating that here. But surely we need to take these things seriously.
Is it any wonder why we've become so cynical?
I felt like the council really didn't care about the community at all.
I understand why people shake their head at these institutions and think, what do they do in that place? Because I don't understand it either. It's just crazy.